Subscribe our channel. Stay till the end of the stories for more twist and turn. Comment us about what kind of stories you like to hear.
AITA for not telling my husband or anyone that I had a child once. My husband is 37, I am 35. Married 3 years, known for. I am currently expecting my husband's first child. My previous relationship resulted in a child, and this is what this is about. I had my son when I was 28, fathered by my then boyfriend. It seemed to be a normal pregnancy, but it wasn't. At almost 7 months I found out that my child was not viable. He was missing both his kidneys. If he still had one, they could have maybe saved him, but not with both gone. Those last 2 months of pregnancy were horrible. People congratulating me while I already knew he'd die. But I think it also helped me because I had time to get it in my head my son would not live. When he was born I held him in my arms, cried, but knew I had to let go. My absolutely wonderful friend took pictures of me and my baby, giving me a wonderful memento to him. Grieving him was hard, but bearable knowing he never had the chance to live. I know this sounds awful, but I just wanted people to let me forget. I feel like I became like this pariah, the woman who lost a child in my family. Coworkers and some friends treated me differently. I just wanted to be normal. People were also asking if I'd try again, but at that time this was not something on my mind. This all strained my relationship with my boyfriend, and 2 years after we decided to separate, I wanted out. I was fortunate to find a temporary job abroad and took it. Then 6 months after that, I moved to yet another country where I met my current husband. I started over and did not tell anyone about my dead baby. Not my colleagues, not my new friends, not even my husband. We were getting an ultrasound and the technician asked me if it was my first pregnancy, and without even thinking I said no. Well, of course this all came flooding. He is very upset that I did not tell him. First because I think he's not robbed of the illusion it's our first child, but also because he feels this was something fundamental about me and he wanted me to confide in him. He said he wished he would have known, so he could have acted accordingly for whatever that means. But this is exactly the reason I didn't say. I don't want people to act accordingly. I don't want to be forever branded as the mother of a dead baby and tiptoed around. So, am I the a-hole?
Nah, I can see both sides. This isn't a small thing that is usually glossed over. He thought he knew you and you didn't share a big life event with him. You shouldn't be under an obligation to let anyone know either, so it's no one's fault. If it was a condition that ran in her family, Up would have been obligated to tell her husband before they started family planning. However, Up's case was evaluated by a medical geneticist who told Up that this was a spontaneous event. The odds of this happening again are the same as they were the first time, 1 in 8,500. Nah. I don't want to call your husband an asshole, since he does have the right to his feelings, so long as he is not berating you or being mean about it. He can be upset for a moment and wish he had known, but that doesn't make it his right to know. He just has a right to his feelings. Tell your husband why you didn't tell him. Explain your thoughts. He should understand. If he doesn't, he's an ass. Yes, it also made me uncomfortable that he feels it isn't their first child like it is. It's the first child you and her are having together. Don't demean it and make her feel worse. Nah, I could be wrong, but the phrasing makes me think Up is kind of guessing at the reasons he's upset, and they haven't yet had deep talks about it. A big part of it might be that he's worried this child would have the same problem and wanted to mentally prepare for the possibility. Anyway, I agree. Nah. Very soft, AITA. I understand what happened, I understand the trauma. On the other hand, you're making decisions about having kids with this guy. He needs to know your history, at the very least, because it seems like you're a high risk for postpartum depression, but also because of the course of your previous pregnancy and the potential for something similar to happen again with a pregnancy that he cares about. Act accordingly very easily could be get genetic testing over the course of the pregnancy. It doesn't have to be anything to do with his treatment of you. I understand why you made the choice that you did. But know that in that choice, you stole some of his agency over his decisions because he was uninformed. That's jarring to a person and makes you feel like some level of trust in a partner has eroded. I think you'll get through this together, but I do think you both need to be really compassionate and gentle with the other. AITA. That's the kind of secret you don't keep from your spouse. For one thing, he deserved to know that a former pregnancy ended with birth defects. It might have made a difference in how he viewed you, but that's a chance you to take in sharing your personal information honestly with a spouse. Has he never met your own family, who obviously knew about your baby who died? Most of what is left of my family lives many thousands of miles away. My mother has sadly passed. I have no siblings. My father has always accepted and understood it was my wish to start over and respected my wishes not to tell my husband. As did my best friend, who took the pictures. I am very sorry for your loss. This one was on here a few weeks ago. Reddit was not kind to the poster. Very many people believe it is always wrong to keep any kind of secret from their partner ever. For your part, you dealt with your grief by burying it deep, which sometimes people do. For his part, your husband is of course surprised and hurt that you kept this from him. Even though your emotional perspective are in conflict, all of both of your feelings are valid. I want to encourage you to treat each other with as much compassion and understanding as you can manage. If you can do that, then nah. I don't know how I feel about this. Where do you keep the pictures? How do you hide them that he hasn't ever seen them? How you grieve is up to you, definitely. And I don't generally feel that all acts of omission are lies, but if you're actively keeping the pictures hidden so he can't find them, and then you two agree to try for a baby, and you still don't tell him, maybe he didn't need to know when you first met. Maybe not when you even got married. But I know, when you start TTC, something like that should have been on the table. It doesn't fully sit right with me to be that actively deceitful to a spouse. I don't think you did it to be an asshole, though. And there's no real right answer, you both feel how you feel, and nothing about either of your feelings is wrong. I have personal drawers. He does respect my privacy. I have a lot of notebooks, and they're in a drawer. One of the notebooks is not a real book, but hollowed out, and there's pictures inside. I also just have digital copies in an email account he has no access to. It seems like to him, you've really gone through a lot of effort to hide this from him. A secret trick notebook in a private drawer. A secret email account. I know you don't want your loss to be what defines you in his eyes, but now he's going to wonder what else you might be hiding from him. It might be painful, but perhaps with a couple's counselor's help you might want to consider opening up to him. My first son was stillborn at 39 weeks. We don't know why he passed. It made the next one that much more difficult for my wife and I. There might be times this pregnancy that get rough as you remember your first. Let your husband be there for you. Let him support you. AITA, but gently. You went through something extremely traumatic and I don't blame you for wanting to put that part of your life behind you. However, I completely understand how your husband feels. Imagine you found out at this stage something similar about him. This is a significant thing not to disclose to your partner, and he has every right to be upset, but I understand this was not done maliciously. By acting accordingly, he may just mean that he wouldn't do or say anything insensitive, given your situation. Did you ever get counseling therapy for what you went through? From reading your post, it seems like you just tried to run away from it rather than working through your grief trauma. I would highly recommend you seek therapy if not, and also couples counseling may be helpful if you can't freely discuss this with your husband. Congratulations on your pregnancy, and I wish you all the best. I understand your position. But I see his side of it too. To find that out during an ultrasound appointment at the same time you are telling a stranger would be a bit of a blow. I feel bad for you, and it sounds like he may have confirmed this, that you couldn't trust him to treat you no differently after knowing this. Something to ask yourself: if he had had a child with a woman before meeting you, but that child had died, would it be something you would have wanted to know about him before he shared it with a stranger in your presence? Nah. The acting accordingly, if he had known, he would have probably offered extra support for you. After losing a child, a new pregnancy is usually very scary for a woman. As someone who lost a baby, I can relate to what you're saying about not wanting to talk about it with everyone. You won't ever forget your baby, but not everyone is entitled to that story. Please share your feelings with your partner, as I'm sure he just wants to support you as much as he can. I wish you a healthy and happy pregnancy up.
Thanks for listening so far. If story have update, we will post here. Like and subscribe to our channel for upcoming stories.